Hi, everyone. I'm Ashton. I'm 15 years old. I have some really serious issues with my parents. Can a father be jealous of his own son? My dad is jealous of me because in just 4 months, I made as much money as he has in 10 years. And I'm making even more now. And what about mother? Mine is jealous of me because even though she tried to stop me, I still managed to become rich. It all started when my math teacher made an announcement. Guys, I see you all gaming all the time. I think you've played enough. How about you build your own game that others can play? Starting next month, I'm going to teach a mobile game coding class at the Coding Club. Anyone who joins will have made a game by the end of the course. You might think that I immediately jumped at the idea, but it wasn't like that because I have to admit that at that time, when someone said coder, all I could think of was a nerd with thick glasses and no friends. But this girl I had a crush on, Olivia, said, "That's a great idea. I'm definitely going to join." And I thought that maybe I was wrong about coders. If Olivia was taking the coding class, I would take it too, because I'd been looking for an opportunity to ask her out for months. The class would be a good way to spend more time with her. That evening at home, I told my parents about the course. I said, "My computer is really slow. If we can get a new laptop, I could code from anywhere." But my dad said, "You're going to write code? Son, don't get me wrong, but coding is for smart people. Don't waste your time." Which made me really angry. "Dad, what do you mean?" I yelled at him. And my mom said, "Ashton, don't you raise your voice. You think we have a money tree in the backyard? You can't expect us to waste money on ridiculous things like this." So she was with my dad on this. Arguing with them was useless. They had never taken me seriously. As usual, I was going to have to take care of this myself. When the course started, I realized that creating a game was much harder than I thought it would be. Still, I was happy to be spending time with Olivia. I hadn't told her how I felt about her yet, but we were getting along really well. We were chatting all the time. Then one day, she told me something that really hurt me. I had joined the coding class because of Olivia, and she had joined because of Kyle, the founder of the coding club. All she wanted was to get him to notice her. I was devastated when she confessed this to me, but of course, I couldn't say anything. One day in class, our math teacher said, "Guys, I have an idea which I think will motivate you. At the end of the course, we'll have a competition for the best game. All your classmates will vote for their favorite. The person whose game gets the most votes will get a prize." Kyle said, "I've been coding since I was 8 years old. I've already developed 3 games. It won't be fair to the others if I compete as well." But Olivia wasn't having it. "Kyle, please, you have to compete or the whole school will make fun of us. At least one good game should come out of this course." Kyle looked at her and said, "In that case, I'm in, but only because Olivia wants me to be." And Olivia blushed. Kyle and Olivia were flirting right in front of my eyes, and I was watching as if it were a soap opera. Suddenly, I had an idea. Would Olivia be impressed if I were the one who created the best game? Maybe she was just like my dad and thought coders were smart, and that's why she had a crush on Kyle. I was going to go for it. I had nothing to lose, and if I won the competition, maybe Olivia would like me. Of course, first I had to come up with a good idea for a game. Olivia loved the Japanese kawaii characters. She always wore clothes with kawaii cats or rabbits on them. If I built a game with those characters, I was sure she would love it. After I made the decision, I started to work literally day and night. One night, I was looking for something to eat in the fridge, and I accidentally dropped a bottle of milk. The noise woke up my dad. I'd gone back to my room to keep working when he came in. He started screaming. He asked me why I was still up at that hour. When I told him I was working on my game, he said, "So you're just wasting electricity?" and unplugged the computer. I was devastated because hours of work that I had put just disappeared. When my dad turned off the computer, the code I wrote that day was lost. But there was nothing I could do since in our house, my parents were in charge. They thought they could do whatever they wanted. After this incident, my parents began to harass me. Every time they saw me coding, they tried to do something to stop me. They were irritated with me when they should have been proud. I had no choice but to start working in the computer lab after school. One day, Kyle came up to me. When he saw the kawaii characters on the screen, he said, "I'm the best in the class, and it looks like you're the worst. Are you making a game for babies?" He was mocking me. Even though I tried to act cool, I was worried about what he had said. I love my game, but I've never shown it to anyone else. Maybe it's not as good as I think it is, I thought to myself. That night, I couldn't sleep because I was so upset. When we got to the end of the course, our math teacher said, "We're going to upload all your games to the app stores. Then we'll announce the competition to the school. Your friends will be able to download and play the games and vote for their favorites." I had done my best, but unfortunately, I wasn't very confident in my game. I thought no one would like it. I was sure Kyle had developed a very good game. He'd become even more popular than he already was, and everyone would laugh at me, like always. Our games were supposed to come out in the app stores the next day. That night, I couldn't fall asleep. I thought, I wish I'd never gotten involved in this. I must have passed out before sunrise. When I woke up, it was past 1 p.m. I had turned off my phone. When I turned it back on, texts started pouring in. I was flooded with messages and my friends were congratulating me. Girls loved my kawaii characters. The winner hadn't been announced yet, but judging from the text, everyone was sure I was going to win. I thought about Kyle's game. I downloaded it immediately. He'd made a platform game. It wasn't bad, but it was mediocre. There were thousands of games like it. There was nothing special about it, and I was bored after 5 minutes. It looked like Kyle's game was a huge disappointment, and if I'm honest, it made me happy. I got to school an hour later. When I walked in the door, I was greeted like a rock star. The best part was Olivia running up to me and giving me a hug. "Did you download Kyle's game?" I expected more from him. "No one liked his," she said. It was obvious who the winner of the Kyle versus Ashton fight was. Of course, it was a big deal for me to win the school competition, but the biggest surprise was that the next day, my game had become one of the most downloaded apps. A week later, I logged into my App Store account, and I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw how much money I'd made. If this kept up, I'd be very rich. And it did. Right now, I have quite a bit of money in my Bitcoin account. So take a guess, what was the first thing that I bought, and for whom? If you thought it was for Olivia, you're wrong. I bought a really nice sports car for my math teacher. I'm also giving him 20% of all my earnings. He deserves all of it because the best things in my life are the result of the course that he started. The day I won the competition, I told my parents about what happened. As you know, we hadn't been getting along well for some time. I even had to fight them to be able to finish my game. They never had any faith in me, but they were still my family. I wanted to share how happy I was. We were at the dinner table. I was talking excitedly about the texts I got when I woke up, how everyone was congratulating me when I came to school, and that my game was getting so popular. They kept on eating their food without even bothering to respond. Finally, my dad said, "Okay, so now this game thing is over, right? I think we've heard enough of this crap." I couldn't believe my ears. "No, Dad, it's not over. This is just the beginning." I yelled and left the kitchen to go to my room. That night, it was only the first day, so I had no idea about my game's worldwide success or the fact that I was about to make more money than I could ever imagine. Since I didn't know those things, my family didn't know about them either. I'd only told them about what had happened at school. But unfortunately, they'd let me down. In the days that followed, I found out I was rich, but I didn't say anything to my parents. When my sports car gift to my teacher made it to social media, my mom found out about it. They came to my room. "What's up with all this money? Did you make money from this game? Why didn't you tell us about it?" they asked. Yes, I made a lot of money, and I'm still making a lot. I didn't tell you because I thought that since you weren't interested in my game, you wouldn't be interested in the money I made either. They were both very annoyed when my dad said, "Ashton, we're your family. You're young. You can't even open a bank account. You have to give us that money." I told him, "I'm buying Bitcoin with the money I make, so don't you worry. I have even more now without lifting a finger." It's been months since this conversation. I haven't given my family a single penny. They keep bugging me about it. They're really jealous because in a few months, I'd made more money than my dad made working for years and years. But I'm still both angry and upset. Everything could have been different if only they'd been happy for me that first day. I can't forgive them because I can't forget how they acted that day. Last night, I caught my dad looking at my Instagram account. He was enlarging and looking closely at the photos I've been posting. I could tell that he was super jealous from the way he was looking at them. I called Olivia and told her about it. She laughed and said, "Babe, I think you're exaggerating. They're your family." And I replied, "No, babe, I'm not exaggerating, and I'll keep doing."
Hi everyone, I'm Justin. I have to go to school every day with 2 bodyguards. It sounds pretty cool when I say that. But when you find out what happened to me, you'll see it's not exactly something that you'd want for yourself. My dad is a truck driver. For years, he drove around the whole country. We'd only see him 4 or 5 days a month at most. Even though we barely spent time together, we had this strong bond. On the days when he was home, we used to play board games. He would always let my sister or me win. I miss those days a lot. We were a really happy family. I was happy at home and at school as well. I think that's because I had the best group of friends in the city. Matt, Jamie, Chris, and I have been friends since kindergarten. We went to the same schools. We promised each other that we would stay together until high school's over. Last year, Matt's family moved to another city. Matt convinced them to let him stay here with us. He lives with his aunt right now. Things were going really well, and then something seemingly good happened, which changed our lives. My dad has been playing the lottery for years. Occasionally, he would win small prizes. But one day, he hit the jackpot and won the biggest prize in years. So one morning, we woke up as one of the richest families in the city. Many people dream of winning the lottery. My dad quit his job as a truck driver. We moved to a nicer neighborhood, bought a bigger house. From now on, we could buy anything we wanted. This is the good part. And then there's the flip side. A lot of news outlets talked about my dad winning the jackpot. Everyone knew the truck driver who got rich overnight. Relatives and friends who my parents hadn't seen in years started coming over. But why? To celebrate with us? Of course not. Some were straightforward, others less so, but they all wanted money. In the middle of all this ruckus, I was trying to go on with my ordinary but happy life. I didn't care about money, the new house, luxury cars, and all that stuff. My sister started going to a private school. Of course, I didn't change my school. My dad said, "Okay, but at least let my driver take you there." I said no. I wanted to take the bus like I used to. The bus stop was a 5-minute walk from the school. One day, I got off at the stop and was walking to school while watching a video on YouTube. I felt like I hit something. I looked up and it was a guy. Just as I was about to apologize, he grabbed me and dragged me to an SUV that was parked nearby. I was so shocked I couldn't even scream. Just as he was trying to push me into the backseat of the SUV, we heard a siren. Whoever was in the driver's seat of the SUV was obviously a coward. He hit the gas and drove away without waiting for his friend. The other guy was stunned. After a moment of hesitation, he started running towards the SUV. Naturally, the police followed him. They caught the guy in no time. It turned out these guys were criminals. When they found out my dad had won the lottery, they decided to kidnap his son for ransom. They'd been following me for days. Finally, they decided to go for it. Thankfully, I was saved by a police car that was passing by. I was curious about how much money they would ask for me, but I could never find out. Naturally, my dad was very worried. And he was right. There could be other people out there who had the same idea. "You can't be going to school alone anymore. I'm going to hire a security company. They will drive you around," he said. What? I would be going to school with bodyguards? Dad, that's embarrassing, I was about to say. "Justin, I don't want to hear about it. We don't have a choice," he said, and didn't let me protest. That same night, 2 people came to our house to meet me. They looked exactly like what you would imagine bodyguards to look like. They didn't take their sunglasses off even inside the house. A guy named Alexander was in charge. "Mr. Justin, you need to comply with some rules for us to be able to do our job," he said. "What kind of rules?" I asked. "The first and most important rule is you can't go anywhere without us. The second rule is that you can only have one person with you at any time, at school or outside." I turned to my dad in shock. "What do you mean? Dad, and will my friends take turns to hang out with me?" I asked. My dad didn't respond. "Thank you, Alexander. We will do as you say. We're expecting you at 7 a.m. tomorrow," he said as they left. The following day was one of the most embarrassing days of my life. My dad called the school's administration and told them about the kidnapping, and they let the bodyguards into the school. The whole day, the 2 bodyguards were following me wherever I went. And of course, everyone was staring at us. The worst part was that they waited by the door while I was in the bathroom. I called my friends the night before and told them about the bodyguards. I told them that only one person would be allowed to come near me. Our first meeting the next morning was really upsetting. When I saw my friends, I forgot about the bodyguards and wanted to go to them. But Alexander stood between us and stopped me. After that, Chris came running to me alone. Jamie and Matt had to watch us from a distance. This wasn't something that we were used to, but there was nothing we could do about it. We had to play along for some time. Nearly a month went by. I thought I'd eventually get used to it, but that did not happen. I was still very uncomfortable walking around with bodyguards. The worst thing was that my relationship with my friends suffered a lot more than I could imagine. We used to hang out at school, and then afterwards we'd go to an abandoned paint factory. It had been empty for years. We called it the Gray Castle. We used to hang out there without anyone bothering us. But now we couldn't see each other at school nor at the Gray Castle. I was so sad to see Jamie, Chris, and Matt drifting away from me. They were my best friends. I had to do something quickly to fix my relationship with them. The only way I could hang out with my friends was to get rid of the bodyguards. Otherwise, they would never let me go. Alexander and the other guy brought me home around 4 every day, stood in front of our house until 6, and then left. I couldn't wait for their workday to be over because by then it would be too late. I decided I would run out through the backyard, go to the Gray Castle, and surprise my friends. When I came home, I went to my mom holding my head. I told her, "Mom, I have a terrible headache. I'm going to take a nap. My room is downstairs." As soon as I got in, I changed my clothes and jumped out to the backyard. The bodyguards were by the front door, so they didn't hear a thing. I took the bus from the other side of the block and rode towards the Gray Castle. I think my acting was too good. My mom thought a headache that bad wouldn't go away with a nap. She came to my room with a glass of water and a painkiller. She saw that I wasn't there. She thought I went to the bathroom, but after a while, when my sister came out of the bathroom, they figured out I wasn't at home. My mom panicked and let the bodyguards know. They called me first, and then when I didn't pick up, they called my dad. The first thing they thought was that I got kidnapped. So they decided to call the police. The police got on it right away and quickly figured out my location by tracking the signal from my cell phone. I had actually seen Alexander's call. He must be calling to tell me something about tomorrow. I'll call him when I get back, I thought. Sometimes he'd call and say, "Heavy traffic expected for tomorrow morning. Let's leave 15 minutes early," or something like that. My plan was to spend a few hours with my friends and come back to my room through the window. But when they realized I was gone, things got crazy. My family and the bodyguards were rightfully worried. Meanwhile, I was happily chatting with my friends at the Gray Castle, totally unaware of what was going on. We had so much to catch up on since we hadn't seen each other properly for weeks. I was doing an impersonation of Alexander, mocking him for taking his job too seriously. Suddenly, we heard sirens outside. Then we heard the loudspeaker. "This is the police! You are surrounded! Put your hands up and come out now!" Police? We looked at each other in shock. What was happening? Was it a hidden camera prank? We put our hands up like they said and walked outside. There were cops everywhere. Soon the police found out what was going on. No one had kidnapped me. I'd run off to meet with my friends while everyone was looking for me. They picked us up from the empty factory building and took us to the police station. My dad, my 2 bodyguards, and the families of my friends were waiting for us there. I was so worried about having caused such a big scene. But my dad comforted me. "Justin, I get you, son. This money brought a lot of good things into our lives, but it also caused a lot of issues," he said. "Dad, I was really happy with my friends. I want to hang out with them," I said, and he put his hand on my shoulder and said, "I'll fix this. I got an idea as I was waiting for you," he said. Do you know what my dad's brilliant idea was? To buy the Gray Castle. Yes, he found the owner of the building, made the guy an offer, and turned that place into a playground for us. Then I understood that being rich is not so bad after all. After school, the bodyguards take us to the Gray Castle. We finish our homework in the library first, because that's Dad's condition, and then we do whatever we want to do. Some days we play PlayStation on a giant screen in the game room. Sometimes we have a tournament in the bowling alley, and sometimes we watch a movie in our private screening room. When we play basketball on the court outside, the bodyguards join us as well. By the way, I have to tell you that Alexander can really play. This is my story. I hope you liked it. Thank you for listening. If you like stories based on real-life events, you can subscribe to this channel now.